What's up guys, welcome back. Today we're going over a Thanksgiving dessert that in my opinion is criminally underrated. I'll be showing you guys how to make pumpkin pie. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right guys, meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. First things first, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Yes, we're using pre-made store-bought pie crust because it's Thanksgiving and we don't have time to do everything from scratch. I showed you guys a lot of scratch-made recipes, but today we're taking the easy route. I'm using Pillsbury. You can use whatever your favorite store-bought crust is. This recipe is meant to be super easy, super quick, but still a fantastic addition to your Thanksgiving dessert table. So first things first, we need to take a fork and poke the pie crust evenly all over. This is going to allow some air to escape, and this is a very important step, guys, because you don't want to ruin that pie crust that you spent all those hours making from Wait, we didn't make it from scratch, but still, you don't want to mess it up. All jokes aside, guys, just read the back of your packaging. Every brand is a little bit different in their instructions, so just follow the directions on the back. And now we're moving on to our filling. So into a mixing bowl, we're going in with 1 can of Libby's pumpkin puree, and next we're going in with 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. As always, guys, the specific measurements and ingredients are provided for you in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. Once we've gotten that sweetened condensed milk in there, it's time to start seasoning this up. Make sure you get all of that out of the can. We're also going in with 1 teaspoon of ginger paste or fresh ginger, whatever floats your boat. 1 or 2 pinches of salt to wake things up. We're also going in with some ground nutmeg and then plenty of cinnamon. This is definitely one of those recipes you want to taste as you go and adjust the flavor to your preference. You can sweeten it up or make it a little less sweet, all depending on how you like it. Just make sure that you're tasting it before you add in the egg. And if you're making 2 pies, you can double this recipe. Get in there with the whisk and mix everything to combine. Make sure it's nice and smooth, smoother than this holiday weekend we're about to have. Hopefully you guys got Friday off. I know a lot of companies are doing that now. Get in there with your rubber spatula. Make sure you're getting everything off the sides of the bowl and off the bottom of the bowl. We want everything in there mixed and happy. The first time I ever made pumpkin pie, I got the recipe from Chef John over at foodwishes.com. Special shout out to him. I've made some adjustments to the recipe over the years and kind of made it my own, but his foundation is great. As you can see here, I'm going in for the taste test to see what it needs. I suggest you do the same. I'm going in with a 1/3 cup of white sugar to sweeten this up a little bit more. Again, guys, all the specific measurements and ingredients are provided for you in the description box below, so please check that out. I'm going to whisk in that sugar, then we're going to taste it again to make sure it's right. I'm going to add a little bit more nutmeg and a little bit more cinnamon as well. And then I think we're good to go on the flavor profile of this pie. There we go. There's that cinnamon and nutmeg. That's the name of the game, guys, when it comes to cooking. Taste as you go and adjust the flavors to your preference. Now, I know sweet potato pie is most people's favorite this time of year, and if I'm being completely honest, it's my favorite also, but pumpkin pie is a very close second. Let me know in the comments what your favorite dessert is this time of year. Once you got the flavor right where you want it, it's time to add in the egg and the egg yolks. That is 1 egg in total and 3 egg yolks. The extra egg yolks help to make sure that this bad boy doesn't crack when it goes into the oven. So that's 3 egg yolks, 1 large egg. We're gonna whisk that in since we've already tasted this and gotten the flavor just right. Make sure you preheat that oven to 425 degrees because this, once it's done, is going into that pie shell and that is going into the oven. Again, guys, this recipe is super easy. If you're trying to figure out what you wanna make for a dessert and you don't have a whole lot of time, this is definitely the way to go. It doesn't get much quicker or easier than this, just a few ingredients as well. And now we've let our pie shell cool a little bit after we did a quick pre-bake on it. Now it's time to fill it up with that delicious pumpkin filling that we made. Just don't overfill it, guys. You want to fill it just to about the top of the pie shell, as you see right here. And then that is going into that 425 degree oven for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to reduce the heat down to 350 degrees and bake it for an additional 30 to 40 minutes. Right before it goes into the oven, you want to tap it a little bit just to make sure you get rid of any air bubbles. And while that's in the oven, I'm going to show you guys how to make a delicious homemade whipped cream that I infuse with a little bit of bourbon because I may or may not be a bit of an alcoholic, but don't judge me, I won't judge you. So into a mixing bowl, we're going in with 1 cup of heavy cream. We're gonna break out the hand blender for this, and we need to beat this heavy cream until it forms peaks or until your hand goes numb, whichever comes first. All jokes aside, guys, this process takes about 10 to 15 minutes, so just be patient. Depending on what speed you're using, I like to start at a medium and kind of work my way up to maybe medium high at the most. Homemade whipped cream is one of those things that sound a whole lot harder than it actually is. Only a few ingredients, and it comes together relatively quickly with minimal effort, and it'll make you feel a little bit better for using store-bought pie crust. So once you start to see the peaks beginning to form, we're going in with 2 to 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar, depending on how sweet you want this to be, and we're going in with 1 shot of bourbon. bourbon. Now the bourbon's 100% optional in this recipe, but it does bring a little bit of extra flavor to the party. You don't have to add but so much, a little bit goes a long way, so about a shot, maybe even a half a shot would be just fine. Break out the hand blender and continue to mix until those peaks form and everything thickens up a bit. It'll start to turn into whipped cream consistency here in just a second. This recipe is fantastic, guys. I can't wait for you guys to try it. Let me know in the comments what other recipes you're planning to try from my channel this Thanksgiving. As you can see, after a couple more minutes, things are starting to thicken up a bit. You see those peaks or waves starting to form in your heavy cream. Give it a nice taste, see how it's coming along. You can sweeten it up a little bit more with a little additional powdered sugar. We're also going in with about a tablespoon of vanilla extract here in just a second. And what do you know, there's our friend vanilla extract. Going in with about a tablespoon or so of that. There we go. Give that a good mix and then pop that in the refrigerator until we need it later. We're gonna serve that with our pie. If you go the bourbon route, you can set that aside for the adults at your party. And that, my friends, is homemade whipped cream. And would you look at that perfect pumpkin pie fresh out of the oven? Let's give it the toothpick test to make sure that it's done. If you insert a toothpick into the pie and it comes out clean, then you know that it's done. But you need to let this rest for at least 2 to 4 hours before you slice into it. And that, my friends, is the most difficult part about this whole recipe, because your house is gonna be smelling absolutely amazing. Look at that delicious whipped cream that we made from scratch. You can brag to all your house guests about that. We're gonna put it in this piping bag to make a beautiful little design on our pie, because why the hell not? Speaking of pie, say it with me, guys, looking good. Perfect pumpkin pie. All we need is a little dollop of that bourbon whipped cream. I cannot wait to get in there for a taste test. Here we go, moment of truth. Let's get a little design going. You guys know I'm not that good with arts and crafts, but we nailed this one. Little mint garnish for a pop of color. We're also gonna go down with a little cinnamon sugar, because why the hell not? And then, my friends, it is time for me to grab a fork or a spoon. Hell, I'd eat this with my hands if we weren't on camera. Brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Now it's time to go in for the taste test. Let's see what we got. Gotta get a little bit of that whipped cream and plenty of the pie. I ate more of this than I should have, guys. I'm gonna be completely honest. Definitely a spoon drop recipe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell to enable notifications. And as always, thank you for your support.